Everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us for the first of our new series, Ask an Expert, a new interactive space where your questions drive the conversation. Today's topic is, why should I get certified? Identifying a top performer and how to become one. Our expert and host today is Richard Lutet, Director of Education and Certification here at the Canadian Professional Sales Association. Now, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Richard to start.
Thanks for having me and for joining everybody today. In today's discussion, what we will be talking about is the research and work that went into creating the new professional sales certification framework and the new professional designations that are part of the framework, and essentially what the benefits are of getting certified. First, some background. My name is Richard Lutet. I have been working in adult and professional education for more than 16 years. I've been primarily focused on developing and bringing new professional programs into the marketplace, as well as some projects on new and innovative learning technologies. I do have a master's degree in education technology from the University of Calgary, a diploma in adult learning from UBC, and a Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Guelph. So getting right into today's topic, the journey really began with us working to understand the needs of the labor market when it comes to sales roles. As a by industry, for industry, not-for-profit association, we engage in a high level of industry consultation to ensure that professional standards, curriculum, and certification programs that we are developing are aligned with the skill sets and the top needs identified by employers. So the journey that has brought us to this moment in time really started back in 2015 with a great deal of labor market research, and then followed up with some skills gap research that we did with Abacus data. And in that research, we uncovered that 73% of surveyed firms were challenged to fill sales roles effectively, and 87% of those interviewed did believe that the development and public awareness of a clear set of measurable standards for sales professionals would improve their ability to hire and retain sales talent. And so it was based on these research findings and general awareness in the public about what's been happening in terms of precarious or part-time employment and the demand that employers have for sales roles that we began our journey to focus specifically on what we can do to be closing that labor market skills gap. So the foundation for designations is a competency framework. And this is a framework that ties the professional designation programs directly to the skills, knowledge, and behaviors that are demonstrated by competent professionals. And this is a PDF document. It is quite an extensive document that contains lots of detail, and it is assembled through a process of industry consultation. And for this project, we completed that work over the summer of 2017. And at this stage of research on the competencies for sales professionals, we engage with sales professionals and sales leaders and ask them to tell us about the characteristics that they consistently see in top performers. And that information then is translated into a summary of skill sets that would set a sales professional up for success in a sales role. So this diagram represents where the project concluded. In the center ring, we have the skill areas that are at the core of the sales professional. They're associated with integrity, the ability to drive results, skill sets for teamwork, continuous learning, and personal brand. In the middle ring, we have groupings of skill sets that are associated with various stages of the sales cycle and skill sets that a successful sales professional would draw on at various stages of the sales cycle. And that includes business acumen and skill sets associated with sales process technology. And then finally, the outer ring represents what we would refer to as the general rhythm of the occupation. And in each of the areas of the outer ring are various skill sets and groupings that contribute to a sales professional's success at various stages in the sales cycle. So again, this was developed through research of other competency frameworks. There was a great deal of industry consultation through focus groups, and the whole project is actually contributed to through a group of volunteer committee members that review the framework at the beginning before all of the industry consultation takes place, and then reviews and helps us with final vetting at the end after we have collected as much industry input from as many different sectors and demographics as possible. So competency frameworks then can be used to inform exam development for professional designations or curriculum development guidelines at various levels of education, right from post-secondary education through to private training and development providers who focus on the continuous development of adult learners. Competency frameworks can actually be used to update job descriptions. They have great performance indicator statements in them that have really clear, measurable objectives, which translate very well into job descriptions or even interview guides. And the other thing that they allow is an approach to discuss and collect feedback on the characteristics of competency in the different skill areas at different levels of the career path. And so with this project, we did take the opportunity to collect that detail that summarizes the skills, knowledge, and behaviors of a successful sales professional at different stages of their career. And so on this, this page, what you're able to see is the different levels that the sales professional competency framework will inform. And so at the very first level, we have the sales certificate, and this represents the link between the competency framework and the professional credentials down into the post-secondary environment and a set of guidelines that we will update and communicate through various academic partners so that they can work on providing curriculum and classroom activities that develop the skill sets in the next generation of graduates that are aligned to the skill sets that employers are demanding for sales professionals in sales roles. The first designation level is the Certified Sales Associate, and this professional designation is very well aligned to sales professionals that are from the start of their career up to the first 3 years in a sales role. This could be an individual who is new to the labor market, or an individual who's transitioning from a technical role into a sales account management role, or even somebody who's worked in a completely different area and would like to upskill and get on a development plan to embark on a new career choice entirely. What's listed here as the work experience requirements are the minimum requirements that a candidate must have before they will be allowed to challenge the final cumulative assessment. And of course, every individual is going to develop the skill sets and be able to demonstrate competency at different levels. And so this is the minimum allowable. There may be a different range for each person individually. The second level, denoted by the orange box, is the Certified Sales Professional. And this portion of the competency framework really draws out the skill sets, the knowledge areas, and the abilities of people who have truly mastered the sales profession. These are individuals that could be entrusted with the most strategic accounts or the accounts that generate the largest return for a business, and really have mastered the sales professional role. The minimum time in work before being permitted to challenge this examination to earn this designation would be 4 years, and certified sales professionals must also provide at the time of application additional evidence that they have indeed met or exceeded sales targets in their career. The final level listed here by the purple CSL box is the certified sales leader. And this portion of the framework does have linkages to the mastery level designation, but also will cover additional competency areas associated with team leadership, including human resource management, compensation planning, strategic business planning, and overall coaching and performance management of sales teams. So the ultimate goal with a framework and professional designation program like this is to close the skills gap by understanding through industry consultation the skill sets required for success in the occupational area of sales, and then using that document to guide curriculum development or course development that is specifically designed to help develop those skill sets in the sales force or people who would like to enter the sales force, and then to create examinations that measure that competency in individuals and can be used as a marker of top sales talent. For individuals, competency frameworks and professional designation programs can provide a very purposeful roadmap for continuous development, course selection, choosing where to invest energy in improving your skill sets in a way that's aligned to the competency framework, which again is informed by consultation of what skill sets employers need. For employers, a professional designation program and a competency framework can help to identify a variety of different education programs that have demonstrated they're aligned to the competency framework and will help to develop skill sets in team members and eventually move on to having the development plans aligned to professional credentials and that marker of verified competence in sales professionals. So that concludes the introduction and background of the project that I wanted to share today. And leading up to today's event, some of you did submit questions in advance, and the ones that I received in advance I've compiled on the slides here so that I can share and answer for the whole group. And the chat window, I do want to remind everybody that if you do have questions for me right now, you can use the chat window to submit your questions. And as soon as I get through the questions that were submitted in advance, I'll move on to a stage of the presentation where I'll cover your questions that you're submitting right now in real time. Okay? So the first question was, what's the difference between a certificate and a designation? Great question. A certificate is something that is awarded upon conclusion of some sort of educational activity. And it represents achievement of learning objectives in a single moment in time. A professional designation is linked to educational programs that may have certificates. It builds on top of that, though. A professional designation also comes with some sort of additional admission criteria, reference checking, a final cumulative assessment, and a commitment ongoing to a code of ethics and a commitment ongoing to continuous learning, and professional development activities. So once a person has earned a professional designation, they must engage in continuous professional development as a means of maintaining it. And if a person who earns a professional designation doesn't maintain professional development each year, then the designation is actually rescinded. The second question, what benefit can I get from getting a certification versus taking courses or other sales training programs? And I do want to highlight at this point in time, professional designation and certification are terms that are used interchangeably to describe that study path that ends in a final cumulative assessment, has some sort of additional prerequisite requirements, and comes with a commitment to a code of ethics and a commitment to continuous professional development. So back to the question, you know, sales training programs are an important component to certification or professional designation programs. There are prerequisite education requirements as part of the program that somebody must complete to demonstrate that they've developed up the skill sets that are part of the framework before they go on and complete the final cumulative assessment. So taking sales training programs or other courses is the starting point to moving on to a full certification or professional designation program. This question, there are a lot of highly skilled new immigrants who have a good deal of sales experience back home. As a newcomer to Canada with technical sales and B2B background, what should I do in terms of education and certification? Well, education and certification is about validation and recognition of competence. And even in terms of the Canadian marketplace, there's a skills gap. That's causing a lot of trial and error, some bad hires, difficulty finding sales talent. For individuals who have practiced sales in other countries and taken sales education programs in other countries or inside of Canada, I want to make sure that everybody's aware that professional designation programs have a application and admission pathway that's called prior learning recognition. And this allows an individual who has been working in sales for quite some time and has already engaged in a number of professional development programs in sales education to apply and request recognition for all of that work that they've done. So the approach on this pathway is to gather up all of your course outlines and submit them as part of your application. And we will be reviewing the learning objectives in those course outlines for alignment to the professional competency framework. And we will be looking to see that prior education has covered development of skill sets in those areas that are in the framework and therefore in demand by top employers. Once that application has been reviewed and approved, then an individual is welcome to challenge the cumulative final assessment. And again, the cumulative final assessment is going to test for those skill areas. And that's why it's important that we do the analysis to make sure the development path was in alignment and would be more likely to be setting somebody up for success to complete the final examination. So this question, how can I leverage having my designation to move up in my career? So I would say with the different levels of professional credentials, it's really important to do a reflection on where you're at today and where you'd like to be in the future. So if you are new to sales and would like to gain recognition for having the foundational skill sets for success in sales roles, the Certified Sales Associate would be an excellent way to demonstrate that. If you're currently a sales professional and you're interested in moving into a leadership role, well then engaging in a professional development plan and working towards the Certified Sales Leader Professional Designation program is a way for you to demonstrate to employers, current or future, that you are taking your professional development planning seriously, that you are doing the work to invest in development of the skill sets that will help contribute to success in your future sales role. This is actually our final question before we move into our live Q&A. So if you haven't done so already, please do submit your questions to the chat box. So final question, if I'm interested in getting a designation, how do I know where to begin and what are the next steps? So for this question as well, I would say reflect on where you are in your current role and where you would like to go to. And that will help you to determine which professional designation you will be preparing towards. So for example, if you're in your first 3 years of sales, you can start to embark on the pathway towards the Certified Sales Associate. And if you are 4 years or above in a sales role, Certified Sales Professional, or if you're interested in moving into a sales leadership role, you would start working towards the Certified Sales Leader Professional designation. We do offer a assessment. If you are a member of the CPSA, you do have access to an assessment that you can take. And the assessment will take you through a series of questions that will help you to determine areas of strength as they're related to the skill sets in the competency framework, and areas that you might want to focus development efforts on. That's a great way to get started in planning your professional development priorities and journey. I would also say that if you've already completed a great deal of education courses or programs related to sales or sales leadership, go back and start gathering up the course outlines, the summaries of the coursework that you've already completed, and have a look at those learning objectives and their alignment to the different skill areas in the professional competency framework. And then finally, get started by taking a course. There's a number of professional development opportunities available either through CPSA or increasingly more and more accredited education providers. That's a great place to start your journey towards becoming a certified professional. Okay, so moving on to the chat, I am going to, at this point in time, turn off my webcam so that I can open up the chat box and see your questions, but you will be able to still hear me. Okay, the first question is from Mohammed, and Mohammed asks, at what point in the sales career would you suggest getting certified? I would suggest that you work towards your development plan at the various levels of the professional designation framework and earn the recognition of having the skill sets that employers demand sooner rather than later. So if you are just entering, the Certified Sales Associate is an awesome place to start. If you have been practicing sales for some time, Certified Sales Professional, and if you are in or working towards moving into a sales team leadership role, the pathway towards CSL is a great place for you to start right away. My next question here is from Catherine. Catherine asks, how will people know when to move from one designation to the next one? That is a great question, Catherine. And the designations have been designed to align with different stages of a sales career path. So for somebody who already has a designation, I would encourage them to reflect on what their next career move is. And if somebody is interested in staying in a sales role and they've been doing it for 5 years and they have already earned their certified sales professional designation, then they will continue to just engage in continuous learning and get increasingly stronger skill sets by working on their professional development hours every year and maintaining the certified sales professional designation. If somebody has earned their certified sales associate role and they have been doing that job for 2 to 3 years and they would like to move into an opportunity or take on a larger account that has more responsibility or is a more senior sales role, then working towards the certified sales professional designation is an excellent way for them to start developing their skill sets aligned with mastery of the sales professional, earn the certified sales professional designation as that recognition of mastery of the advanced level competencies and skill sets, and then be able to go into conversations with their employer, showing how they've made investments to strengthen their skill sets aligned with mastery level for the role. So we've really done the work to design this with multiple levels so that there's lots of opportunities for individuals to reflect on their professional development planning, where they're at in their career today, where they'd like to move on to their career next, and determine the professional development and the certification program to gain the recognition that aligns with those skill areas. Are there any more questions that anybody would like to submit into the chat box? If you do that right now, I can make sure that we answer them while we are all together. And of course, we're always happy to take your inquiries offline. You can email the CPSA Institute directly at institute@cpsa.com. And I encourage you to visit our website right here, which is cpsa.com/excellence for more information about the professional designations, the professional designation framework. Okay, not hearing any more questions, I think we will conclude that for today. And I apologize, just noticing right now I didn't have the slide up with the URL for you to visit. There it is for you. And I look forward to continuing the conversation offline and helping you with any inquiries that you might have. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Richard, for that. And on behalf of the CPSA, I'd love to thank today's audience for your contribution to Ask an Expert. Should you have any additional questions about the CPSA's designations, please feel free to either email us at askanexpert@cpsa.com or go directly to cpsa.com/excellence for more information. Thank you so much for joining, everybody.
Okay.
Good. That was great.
Thank you.
Killed it. 10 out of 10.
Thanks, guys.